Most of the fleas that we deal with here in the United States are actually feline fleas. Now what you're going to find is that you'll get one person in the household, one or two people, that the fleas seem to go after, and the others they don't have any interest in. It's just that we all have a different scent that we give off, and some people have a scent that the fleas like, so they're going to attack that individual.
You know, I had to keep thinking. Like, every freaking comic has a reason. There's no just random reason that a comic is a comic. So, what I deduced it, Flea. What do fleas do?
Cause scratches?
They don't scratch.
They bother people?
How do they basically attach themselves and get carried?
Yo, Big Bro is fucking crazy this year. They call Alyssa dead weight and useless.
Yes.
Call Brittany's ass a flea.
I'm done.
Another ridiculous day in the Big Brother 24 house, where I have to get on here and try to talk about poor ass gameplay. And this season has made me realize how easy it is to talk about good gameplay when that's happening. You know, sometimes on Survivor, which, you know, is an edited show, so you only get some of the positives sometimes, but it's a whole lot easier to talk about good gameplay than to get on here and try to really map out poor gameplay like this entire season has been. But it needs to be said, because other people will try and pretend like some of this is good gameplay when it is just not. I'm going to try and go over the past 24 hours of Brittany making messes, and we're going to start with really going back to her conversations with Alyssa for several weeks now. She's been trying to get Alyssa on her side for weeks now, because for whatever reason she's been enamored with wanting Alyssa to like her. And she's failed at this constantly because Alyssa has said that Brittany gives her anxiety, she doesn't trust Brittany and Michael, and so she has failed at every corner with Alyssa. She then talked to Turner yesterday in the wee hours of the morning about how there was going to possibly be an all-girls alliance, something that Brittany brought up to Alyssa and Taylor, since they are now in the final 6 and it's 3-3 if Terrence goes, that maybe the women should have this girls thing again. But then Brittany ratted it out to Turner about how Taylor and Alyssa want a girls thing because Brittany forever does too much. But after this conversation with Turner, Turner was not completely buying it. And Turner, who started last week wanting Taylor out, has kind of went back on that, at least to the extremes he was last week. However, Turner then had this conversation with Monty about this and the possibility of an all-girls thing. And somehow this information did work on Monty, at least last night or the wee hours of this morning, where it seemed as though Monty was now worried about an all-girls thing, almost even more than, you know, Michael, who's winning all of the competitions. And this is just once again poor gameplay, because it doesn't work on Alyssa, Brittany's ridiculousness. Barely works on Turner, if not at all. But then when that information gets from Turner to Monty, it works on Monty, the person who should want Taylor out the least soon anyway. Monty should not want Taylor out soon. And kind of vice versa, because they do kind of need each other in the game. If Taylor were to go at this double, then it would be Monty and Turner, and then it would be Alyssa in the middle, and then it would be Michael and Brittany. And Monty has the least ties to everyone left except for Turner. Alyssa wants Monty out sooner rather than later. So that would be a terrible mistake. And they've gone so far as to discuss with Michael a possibility of an all-guys thing. The guy they've been wanting to take out, and should be wanting to take out because he wins all the competitions, they've actually considered an all-guys thing with him up until at least Final Four, giving Michael even more of a break if that were to happen. But if this gameplay was any sort of even decent, the easiest thing to do for Monty and Turner, who started this week with Michael winning HOH and they want Michael out ASAP, would be to go to Alyssa and Taylor and throw Brittany under the bus to them because she brought up the Girls Alliance to Turner, and they can maybe turn those two girls on Brittany and Michael and make those two the house target as it should be because they are the clear duo and because Michael does not lose competitions. But I have to say this again, it's not rocket science, but these players act like it is. Constantly act like this is the most difficult game on earth, when easy things like that should be obvious, but to them somehow it's not. Awful gameplay. And furthermore, if they were actually so worried about an all-girls alliance and how Taylor should go at the double when Alyssa's on the block this week, if they're so worried about the all-girls alliance, they could just vote Alyssa out this week. But I don't think they just don't have critical thinking. It takes them too long to come to the conclusions that they should come to in this game. They have just not caught on to this game. But also on the other end, we have people already trying to spin it like Brittany is outplaying people. And this is why a couple videos ago I preemptively started talking about how poor of a game Brittany is playing because I knew there would be a spin if she were to win. But it doesn't surprise me that there's already trying to be a spin that Brittany is being successful here and that Brittany is outplaying, because Brittany still is not playing for herself. So how is she outplaying anyone when every single thing she constantly does only helps Michael? Everything she's doing only helps Michael. If this were to succeed, and we'll talk about here what happened within the last couple of hours, and possibly all falling back onto Brittany, but even if she were successful and say she successfully turned the house against Taylor and Taylor were to go at the double eviction, all she has done is bring the guys closer to Michael in this scenario. All Brittany is doing is strengthen Michael's relationships for him. Because it's funny, I've talked about all the social games or the lack thereof, and Michael doesn't even try to have a real social game, let's be honest with ourselves. Brittany tries and fails, but it's starting to seem like that Brittany tries these social things, but they only help Michael, because she's only helping Michael's relationship with the guys here while deteriorating her own relationship with the women. It doesn't make any sense. And Brittany has set herself up where she can only possibly win against Michael. I mean, the argument could be made for Alyssa, but if you really look at the numbers, the Kyle, the Indy, the Jasmine, who were friends with Alyssa, that's 3 votes for Alyssa right there, possibly against Brittany, who they don't like, and Alyssa would only need 2 more in that scenario. So how in the hell is Brittany outplaying anyone where she has set herself up where she only has a chance against Michael at the end, but Brittany doesn't even know that. Brittany doesn't even realize that, because Brittany is actively hurting her own social game where she's going to hurt her chances for even getting votes against Michael because she does too damn much. She sucks. And then Michael, the guy she's helping out more than anyone, the guy she's basically playing for, called her stupid last night, basically, when she left the room after she basically told Taylor to leave the room for a moment so her and Michael can talk. You know, Michael was not happy about that because Brittany did not bring him any new information, and it made them both look suspicious to Taylor, and it makes them look like more of a duo. And Michael has every right to call her stupid in that scenario because she acts stupid, or she just is. So this is why I talked about this in the last couple of videos, because I knew this was going to happen with Brittany. And Taylor does need to be called out for her constantly wanting to go to the end with this duo, although she's coming around to the fact that Michael needs to go sooner rather than later. But she has hung on way too long to this duo, to the point where she's almost boxed in to the fact that she might have to go to the end with the two of them, which would not be good for her game. It would set her up to have to win the final 3 HOH, which would be extremely hard against Michael. Not impossible, but highly doubtful that Michael, if it's the usual HOH competition at the end where, you know, it's a 3-part challenge, and if you get to the 3rd part you have to answer questions about past players, Taylor does not study nearly enough for days about the days in the game, what happened each day. And I don't know if her memory will remember as well as Michael's will past players of what happened in the game and what they've done. She would have a hard time in that final 3. So I do feel like Taylor does actually have one of the best social games out of anybody that played this season. She does. She worked on all relationships. She's had good jury management. Despite starting at the very bottom of this game, I still think her strategy is lacking, though, just like every single other player in this game. The strategy is lacking. But Monty and Taylor had a discussion a few hours ago. I'm recording this a couple hours before it will be posted probably, where he was trying to test Taylor's loyalty for one, and she did pass the test, but also throwing Brittany under the bus to tell her that Brittany told Turner about the all girls thing. And so Taylor and Brittany later had a discussion, which was kind of awkward for them, where I do think Taylor is seeing the truth about Brittany. Finally, hopefully she is. We'll see to what extent that she's actually figuring that out. Now, Taylor is saying she still wants to go to the end with Brittany, which isn't the worst thing for Taylor, because Taylor can beat Brittany, because almost anyone can beat Brittany in the end. Monty almost may have done a good job of convincing Taylor to keep Terrence this week as well, which is what Monty is wanting, to have Alyssa voted out over Terrence. Turner would have to actually go for that too, though. But it is an idea, and it is a possibility if Taylor is seeing that for her actual game, on a personal level, she wants Terrence gone because he sucks, especially with her, as I've talked about in several videos. But for her own game, I am wondering if it is worse for her to have Alyssa in this game or Terrence in this game. She's been discussing wanting to go to the end with Brittany and Terrence because they are probably beatable, maybe. I think Brittany, she studies well too. She knows her stuff. If she was in the final comp, I mean, would Brittany take Terrence over Taylor? Probably, knowing Brittany. That's actually something I haven't thought about. Would Brittany beat Terrence in a final 2? What a wonderful final 2 that would be, eh? But I don't know if they have enough to keep Terrence just yet. I guess we'll see how that plays out, the vote with Terrence or Alyssa. You know, on the other hand, though, Alyssa does seem to want to be kind of loyal to Taylor, certainly more loyal than Brittany. So, I mean, this is what I mean about Taylor's social game. She has set herself up pretty good, that she has still different angles to play. She has these possibilities for her own game of who's better to keep right now because of the dynamics. But she's almost getting to the point where she's boxing herself in too much with that duo. The pros and cons of Taylor keeping Terrence or Alyssa. The pro of keeping Alyssa is that she does seem to want to work with Taylor at least up to Final 4, but not Final 3. And, you know, she's also kind of another person Taylor could drag to the end and way most likely beat. But the con being that if Alyssa stays in this game, she can easily fall in the middle, not because she's good, but simply because she's a non-entity that she would be the one to fall in the middle. Whereas if Alyssa left, I guess the pro to keeping Terrence is that Taylor could eventually be the person that could fall in the middle of the game if she works her way there. I mean, Terrence would probably try and do that too, but Terrence sucks at everything. The con to keeping Terrence, of course, is that he hates Taylor for no reason whatsoever because he, well, sucks at the game. But that's about it for the past 24 hours. It's just been more unstrategic gameplay, just bottom of the barrel stuff, really scraping the bottom of the barrel with the gameplay this season, because it takes everyone way too long to come to conclusions. They all spiral and come up with bad ideas for their own personal game. And to beat it into the ground one more time, some people are already trying to pretend that Brittany is playing a good game when she was exposed to Taylor 12 hours later about her being too damn messy. And we still have a little less than 3 weeks of this shit.